Good evening and welcome to Good News on Entertainment. I'm Carley Boyette. A little later in the show, I'm going to tell you about a great new series that has just started to air on Great American Pure Flix called Destination Heaven. The series kicks off with a special guest star, Kevin Sorbo. I'll be talking with him again, not only about this new series, but some other great projects and films he's working on as well. But first tonight, a heartfelt conversation with a gold certified singer songwriter and Bethel Music Worship Leader, Josh Baldwin. You're going to hear the personal story that led him to help write his latest song, Prince of Peace. If you or a loved one struggle with anxiety or depression, it's such a beautiful song that sheds light on the intersection of faith and mental well-being. But before we talk about Prince of Peace, I had to talk about his song and the title of his album, Made for More. Oh, I am so excited to get some time with you, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Yeah, it's so good to be here.
Oh, I told you before we got started, I am so in love with this song, Made for More. It has such a powerful message. And what's the reaction that you've been getting from this song? Because I'd imagine, I mean, you have several others that have really done well, but this just
Yeah.
seems to be on a new level, I think, for you.
I mean, I think it is. I literally, it's funny you said that because last night I was talking to my wife and I've been out. I was out all weekend, leading worship and playing some stuff, and it's just the response has been amazing. I can't. I mean, when "Stand in Your Love" came out years ago, that was like people's first probably intro into me or anything, and that was like that took off. But this is like another level, and people were already like singing all the words to the songs on the night. And the other night we were outside of Jonesboro, Arkansas, middle of nowhere, like 8,000 people, and there was no lyrics on the screen or anything, and I started singing that song, and there's a lot of words to it, and just word for word, everybody like just worshiping. And I was telling my wife, I was like, this one feels different. This one feels like it just feels special. And so I'm just so
Well, and I'll tell you my opinion on it and why I think it's hitting people, I think, so strongly is to me, um, it's kind of an answer. You had this big Barbie movie last year. I cover a lot of the entertainment stuff, and yeah, that was the big movie from last year. And Billie Eilish, she sings this song that's been, nominated for an Oscar, and it's this
yeah,
heartfelt "What was I made for?" And it's the biggest question we all have
right,
of
right,
why am I on this, planet? Who created me?
right.
Why am I here? And that song is so emotional. Like, that's why it's just done so, well on the pop charts. But then you have this song, which I just feel is the perfect parallel, the
Yeah,
perfect answer back
yeah,
to, the question that we're all asking.
yeah.
So it's just so powerful. Had you heard that before? Because again, that's all I can think of when I hear this song is like,
No, I love that you said it because I mean, I think I have heard that song, but I hadn't
Mhm.
thought about it.
It's
And
hard not to hear it. Like, they just sang it on
I know.
American Idol
Now
finale.
I'm gonna go back and listen and think because yeah, I mean that's what this song started. It kind of started out we were reading my friends that I wrote it with. They were reading Romans 6 and just talking about how just like Christ, we were died with Christ, but then raised to life, to newness of life with Him. And it kind of started that direction, and then also took like a because of that, what's our identity and who are we? And I love even the first line is like I know who I am because I know who you are. Is I think that's what it's all about. Like the
And
more
that's
we
when life truly begins, right?
yes,
Like, once you
yeah,
know who he is and what we were created for, it
yeah,
changes the game, and I think that's
totally.
why there is an identity crisis, I
Yeah.
feel like,
Oh, totally.
in our culture today, and people are searching. They wanna know,
Yeah,
why, and there's just so much kinda thrown at them. They're all
yeah.
searching. We're all searching.
Oh, I mean, social media, everything is like reaching out and trying to tell you like who you are or who you're not. And I think it all, like, if the more we know the Father, the more we learn about him, the more he starts to reveal who we are and who we're called to be, and that we were made for more than we even know. So yeah, it's been so special, and it's been an honor to like carry it and just and sing it and help people. So yeah, yeah.
Well, congratulations again on just
Thank
so
you.
many people. And I will say too about this song, because I was even looking at the comments on YouTube and social media and stuff. And I think because there's that one live, I'm not just meant to tending a grave, so
Yeah,
I think it's helped a lot of people with sickness and kind of
yeah,
death. But in some ways, like we're all dying, like it doesn't matter. You don't need to be kind of fighting that, but our days are all numbered. We just
yeah.
don't know when they
Oh,
are. So
that's funny that you said it, because I've had people reach out who have like recently lost a loved one or something, and I didn't think about that when we were writing it at all, but like they were thinking of it as a thing that, like, I obviously the grieving, mourning, honoring, a loss, but they were like, it's helped me move on from this. Like, I'm not going to tend the grave in the grief. I'm going to actually like think about what the Lord has done and where they are. And I was like, that's amazing. Like, I didn't even think about that when we were writing it. I was thinking about, just, dead and alive in Christ. We've died to ourselves and that kind of thing. But
But
that's
that's
so,
what God does. That's what he does with scripture,
yeah,
right? Same verse can mean 150
totally.
different things.
Yes,
Music does the same.
it is. It's so
Hey,
sweet.
let's talk about Prince of Peace now, this other song.
Yeah.
We talk about an identity crisis. I think there's also anxiety,
Yeah.
in our culture and in certainly in the United States, probably more than ever before as well.
Yeah.
And this song touches on that. And I think, man, if we can really grasp hold to the peace that he can provide,
Yeah.
that's a game changer as well. It's not always easy. And I think a lot of times understanding what that means, what peace means, because it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that all your problems go away either. But
Totally.
talk a little bit about that, because I know that's something that's been on your heart too, and kind of
Yeah.
tying those two together of anxiety and
Yeah.
still being okay, still being able to
Right.
find your Prince of Peace.
Right. Oh, well, that's how the song started. It really, I mean, it started with my wife, like 4 or 5 years ago. It kind of, it's when it all like hit. Just she started going through a lot of anxiety and some panic attacks, and it was kind of through the whole year, 2019, and and then it's, we found peace, we found breakthrough, and just, getting past it then. And had kind of had been, it was up and down, but like for the most part, the seriousness of it, and it hadn't hit us again until a year ago. And it was about January or February last year, when she started to get hit with it again, and so much that I had to come off I mean, I was on a trip. I remember coming home early, and it was just a season of like, we're trying everything. Like, what do we do? What we don't know what we want to, you just want a lifeline, something for her. She wanted to grab onto to get through this, because there was no reason it should be happening. Like nothing had happened in her life to like cause this. It was just this. I'm getting hit with this, and I don't know where it's coming from. And in the
And I
middle,
think in the faith community, when you are believers and you get hit with that, it's even sometimes more frustrating
yeah, oh,
that you
totally,
think, man, why is this happening?
right,
You
and
know it mentally, right?
yeah, all the things to do and say and pray and read, and like, why is this? And and in the middle of this, I was writing for the Made for More album that we released. And I think I had like a writing session with two buddies of mine that we had planned, and I didn't want to go to it, because I was like, I just want to stay home. I want to be with my wife. And but honestly, the funny thing is that one of the guys he lives in Australia, and he had flown out here for a week. So I was like, I have to go write with him. I can't like like, he came a long ways for this. I can't just like cancel this. So I went, and I remember sitting down with them, and luckily, like, thankfully, I'm close enough with them to just be like, they could tell on my face I didn't want to be there. And so I was like, okay, here's why. Here's what I'm going through. Here's what my wife is going through. And it was cool because it kind of opened up the doors for both of them to share. Like, one of them was literally going through the same thing, and I would have never known. And he's not the kind of person that I would think would get hit with something like this. And so we just had like a little time where like sharing our hearts, praying together. And then we started writing this. We were like, let's write a song about Jesus being our peace. And but like in a way where we're honest in the lyric, in the verses, just like this is what I'm going through, Lord. Like I feel like I'm wrestling with demons every day, and a fight and a hold on my mind. And like I've seen you be the healer and the defender, and I know you're my friend, my savior. But like right now, the part of you that I need is the Prince of Peace part, and it just it felt so just freeing. And there was like a I don't know, like a rest that came with like singing that. And um I mean, and I essentially like wrote it for my wife, and kind of in the point of view of like what is she thinking right now when she's going through this, like what would she sing to the Lord. And so I remember coming home that day and sharing it with her, and we just like cried. And it was just I mean, it was a sweet moment, a sweet time. It's been so sweet to be able to carry it. And when we recorded the live album Made for More, um that night we kind of set aside like, okay, when we do this song, it was kind of the one song in the whole bunch of songs that wasn't necessarily like Sunday morning worship vibes. So it's so I was kind of curious, like what's it going to be like. There's people here, we're all singing and worship, and then I'm gonna go and hit this heavy-ish song about peace. Um but we went after I told the story. We sang the song, and it was amazing. And then my wife came up and just shared a little bit more of her heart and just prayed for people. And um it was such a sweet night. And I think, and we've since then we've gotten a lot of breakthrough with that, and it just, the Lord's like taken her out of the season. And but it's been something that's been really sweet to have, like a song that's a testimony of something that the Lord's brought us through. But then also, like, I mean, there's still more. It's not like it's just gone, it doesn't ever happen. I mean, it's a battle.
Well, and
But
this is why I love music so much, because sometimes, we may not know how to pray, or we may not know what to, how to make those next steps forward. But man,
yeah,
a song, and when you can put on a song like that, I mean, it is a prayer. It's a way
yeah,
of
oh yeah,
speaking to God and asking for what you want, for him to show up in that way.
yeah,
And that's why, all music is one of, if not the most powerful thing I think we
yeah,
have
yeah.
here on earth, on this side of heaven.
I think I realize to this day, like there's tons of scriptures but that I remember, and that I don't even think knew they were scriptures, but they were songs that I just remember because of songs. And then I'll be like, oh, wait, yeah, that's a scripture. Like, where is that? And it's just, yeah, music just gets those words and those prayers just stuck in your heart. And I love it. And it's been so sweet. Even nights that I've gone out. I went on a little tour with some friends of mine a couple weeks ago, and every night we would just take a moment. I would share just the story behind the song, share the song, and then just kind of go after that in the night, like just pray for people dealing with that. And it's been really the sweetest moment in each night. It was
And the
just,
church needs that.
yeah,
I think
oh
people
yeah,
are looking in today's, when there is so much talk of artificial intelligence, and people know, when they feel like they're being fed something. I think,
yeah,
what I constantly hear over and over is the next generation, they just want authenticity.
yes,
And I think we need to look at church, and when we go Sunday mornings and we're meeting with others,
yeah,
that it's okay to be honest.
yeah,
When we are struggling, it
right,
is okay. It doesn't mean that you don't have enough belief, or that your faith isn't the right place. But sometimes our tendency is want to pull back and say, no,
right,
no, no, and that's the
right.
worst thing you can do.
No, it's I mean, I think even every night when I talk about it, you can feel people just be like, oh my gosh, no, me too. I've gone through that too. And because it's like we've had breakthrough, yes, but it's not like it's still an ongoing like awareness of needing the peace, needing the rest of the Lord. And yeah, you can feel that. You can feel people grabbing on, like, I've wanted someone to like let me know that I wasn't the only one going through, and that, yeah. So I think we totally need to be authentic. I think worship is um I think it hits even better. It ministers even better when it's authentic.
Authentic, yeah.
Just like the way I'm talking. It's very authentic. This is
I
my
love it. I
southern,
love it.
this is my
Hey,
southern slang coming out.
hey, speaking of friends and tours, let's talk about what you
Yeah.
have coming up the rest of the year. What I love about you in particular, you've just already gone on the road. I'm a big fan of Ann Wilson too, and I'm a big fan of
Oh
country
yeah.
music. And then some of the guys, Zach Williams, Josiah Queen. It's so exciting to see, what he's doing in this space.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems like now more than ever, just like movies and entertainment where it's just we're raising the bar, I feel like you're seeing this in Christian radio as well, where there's just a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
Even the R&B world, and there's just a lot of cool things that are happening that God is using and the people that God are using. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh,
It's got to be a fun ride right now to see where God is going.
it is cool. And I feel like yeah, I feel like I have my hands and feet in so many different like areas of Christian music and worship and all that. And I love that. I have I love yeah, when I was Ann last year, that was amazing. And then going out with Zach, I go out with him a lot, I feel like, and this year especially, I'm going out with him in July, and it feels and even in October, I'm going out with my buddy Phil Wickham. We're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to
Now we're
Canada.
going in Canada, right?
Yeah, so I have so many little areas of Christian music and worship that I get to be a part of, and it's so sweet. It's so
But do
yeah,
you
I'm
see that
excited.
kind of like where it's going, just Christian music
Yeah,
and how it's just reaching new people, and there
yeah,
does seem to be, even I look at, the what's going on in college campuses, and it
right.
just seems like I know there can be a lot of negative, the focus can be on that, but I
Yeah,
also feel like there's a lot of good stuff
there
happening as
is.
well.
And I mean, just you hit on a little bit. There's a generation coming up younger than me that are really on fire because they have to be now. Like it's not like you're not gonna just accidentally be a Christian and it'd be easy for their generation. And so like Josiah Queen, I haven't met him. I can't wait to meet him. We're going out he's gonna be with us from Zach and Seth, and I do know him. And there's just like this new Gable Price and friends. They're good buddies of mine. They're kind of they're like the younger generation Switchfoot kind of, and and just that whole generation is coming up, and they are not ashamed. They're not scared, and they're hitting these college campuses, and kids are coming out and worshiping, and they're sharing the God. Like Josiah, he does the songs, but then he shares the gospel every night, and people are getting saved. It's honestly for someone like me who's been around for a while, and it's like very inspiring and encourage and like, okay, Josh, like let's go,
Well, and
let's
that's why I wanted to bring that up because I feel like, again, you watch the news and there's just so much negative and the
right.
focus, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but there is a lot of cool stuff that
Oh
God's
yeah,
using. And
yeah,
it's not going to be easy for,
yeah,
we're in the same season of life. Our kiddos
yeah,
are the same age and, it's not going to be easy for them, but I am encouraged that I
yeah,
think, if as long as we do our part in helping them, climb as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
But
yeah. No,
man, so much fun talking with you. And I'm just so excited again about how God continues to use you and use music
oh,
and just safe travels. We'll be praying for you guys on the
thank you,
road and that you
thank
continue
you.
to touch hearts and, get people to be honest about how they're feeling and,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Thank you. Thanks
come
so
to
much for
come to
having
know
me.
the real savior and the real hope in life and
Yeah,
why they were made.
right. Exactly. Thank you so much.
All
Yeah,
right, go listen to that song now that I've
I
kind of
will.
compared the two. That's your homework assignment, and you're gonna go, "Oh, yeah, like,
Like, yes.
yes,
And
this
now
is
I
what
will
people
tell
need to
people.
know."
Now I'm gonna tell people, yes, there was an answer to what Billy was saying. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
God, you've been my provider. Right now, what I need is you to be my Prince of Peace. Come and be my Prince of Peace.
Now, as Josh mentioned, he has a lot of tour dates coming up with several different artists. Just go to joshbaldwin.com for ticket and venue info. Okay, now to that great new series on Great American Pure Flix I mentioned called Destination Heaven. I had a chance to watch a few of the episodes before they released, and this series is so good. Actor, director, and producer Kevin Sorbo is actually in the first episode of the series. It's always fun checking in with him to get the scoop on everything he is working on these days. But before we get to that, let's take a quick look at Destination Heaven.
God, I just need to know that you're with me, that you're hearing my voice.
I hear you, Regina, and I'm right here with you.
Are you?
I am. Since you were talking to me, I decided to talk back.
So does that mean this place is... and I'm...
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
How can I be sure that you're watching out for me?
Do people see how much faith you actually have? You're not stuck in whatever pattern your father was a part of.
I was a photographer. It was a way to put beauty into the world and seeing things the way God saw them.
Someone like you needs to understand the effort that it's going to take to make your marriage as strong as it can be. Whatever happens, the life you live will be worth it.
Oh, this show is so good. Good to see you again, Kevin.
Good to see you again.
I'm trying to think. This may be the busiest. You have so many different things and projects that you are working on. And I don't know, maybe you were busy, acting and producing and doing, maybe they're just all now coming out this year. Like
I do. I've got 4 movies in post-production. I shot 2 movies this year already. I got 3 more movies lined up this year. I've got 2 movies coming out in theaters that have nothing to do with the movies I mentioned. And I've got 3 documentaries coming out at Christmas time.
Bravo.
Crazy.
I'm totally
Crazy.
here for it. Well, let's talk about this Destination Heaven. So I got a chance to watch some of the episodes before. I got a little sneak preview. And my first thought is, because you kind of kick off this series,
Yeah.
and I did want more of you. I thought, well, wait, I want more of your storyline. But then I thought about it. This show, to me, and I hope maybe this was the intent, they feel like little parables in the Bible, and that, we don't get the full story either sometimes. They literally, the way Jesus told these stories were to really make us think. And this is such a fun, comedic way to kind of do some internal checks, I think.
That's interesting. I think that's pretty cool. I maybe we can give Pure Flix that much credit. I don't know. But I've never known, but that's an interesting analogy of what they did here, because at the end of this episode I'm in, it's just me walking down the street and just leaving. And you don't know how my life is going to end up or how her life is going to end up. But, I play this homeless guy that's camped out in her parking lot of her business complex. She feels guilty and she sees me and gives me a couple bucks. I guilt her into getting more money and guilt her into giving me her husband's coat. And it's interesting. And so we have this, at first, all she sees in me is anger and hatred. And just like, my life sucks and it's unfair. Life's not fair. I'm a homeless guy, but I shouldn't be, all this kind of stuff. But as they have more and more encounters, and she invites him over to their house, she gives him a job, but it's a job that he's not really capable of doing because he was a photographer. He's not a carpenter. But it's interesting to see how those encounters, she learns a little bit more. He learns a little bit more. They help each other's lives out a little bit. And I think that's the parable in there.
Yeah, well, and I just love that you don't get a complete, because it's really, at the end of the day, it's not about your storyline. The way these shows are kind of pieced together, it's the person that God's working on. And by the way, too, I love who they cast for God. I think he's the perfect.
Yeah.
They do such a good job, even with his lines of like,
this
what would God
low-key-
say? How
this
would he
low-
handle that?
He's this low-key father knows best kind of attitude, and he just looks at me and goes, well, what do you think about that? Instead of God, let me give the winning numbers for the lottery. Well, go pick your own numbers. There's a great story I love to tell at speaking events where these scientists have found a way to create life. And they go to God and they say, we're going to show you we can create life. We don't need you, God. And we show people how we create life. Will you leave us people alone? God says, sure. So they say, great. They get together, they put their lab coats on. They go, okay, first we start with some dirt. And God says, no. Make your own dirt. It's a great little story. And that's what this God does.
Yeah.
He's out there kind of going, well, what do you think about it? You're smart enough. He knows you're smart enough that you can figure it out. Use your brain a little bit, because we're using our brains less and less in this world right now.
Yeah. I also appreciated how loving he is in
Yeah,
that this series, he doesn't come off judgmental. He's trying to teach lessons, which I
exactly.
think there again is that Jesus parable angle where, you've got to teach some good lessons, but when you can do it, when you can speak truth and love
Yeah.
and have that, as you said, that father element, I think it just goes a really long way.
It's brilliant how they did it. So I hope this thing kicks off. I know it starts right now. People can go
Yeah.
on. It starts till the end of June, I think, and 8 p.m. Eastern time. So please go check it out on the Great American Pure Flix channel.
Hey, you are in real quick while I have you on the line here. I did just watch The Firing Squad. Man, we talk about films, coming out. This is so good.
Oh,
And
thank you.
Cuba Gooding Jr. in it as well.
Yeah, yeah. FiringSquadFilm.com. That's the place to go. If you go to FiringSquadFilm.com, you can see a trailer for the movie. You can see the testimonials, because we've been showing it in cities all across America already. I've got a couple more I've got to fly off to in the next couple of weeks. I'll be at the K-Love Awards
Yep. Okay,
presenting, but
good.
they're going to show the screening. They're going to show a trailer of the movie when I'm there. So it's a wonderful movie, and it's a movie of of the toughest place on earth, which is prison for anybody. It's an Indonesian prison in this case, and it's about the character I played. He found God, became a pastor, and he saved many souls while he was in there, as long as not only just inmates but guards as well. And it just shows you that in the worst conditions of life, God can still be there for you. You just have to let that light in, and that's what they're doing with this series that I'm on right now. What they're doing at Great American Pure Flix. And I love the battle. I love joining hands with these people from different independent production companies. We got to work together. We have to work together.
Let the light in. I love that, how you just said that. Well, thank you for all that you're doing. I know it's a lot of hard work. It keeps you very busy, but we're so appreciative. As a mom myself that's always looking for good stuff the family can watch together, this is one of those shows in particular.
Oh, no question.
Everybody can laugh along, learn
Yeah.
along together.
Yep.
And it's good stuff. So job well done again on being a part of this. And I'm excited. I'm going to be telling my friends and family about it.
Cool. Love it. Love it. SorboStudios.com. I got to throw that in too.
Again, episodes of Destination Heaven have already started streaming on Great American Pure Flix. Just go to their website for more info. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Next week, I will be checking back in with Granger Smith about his new children's book he has released, as well as a conversation with Jared Lopez, the host of a popular podcast called Dad Tired. He too has a new book I will tell you about as well. I'm Carley Boyette, and I look forward to seeing you next week right here on your Christian television network.